Far, far below the hells, deep within the final layer, resides the Lord of the Ninth, the Archfiend, Asmodeus himself. There are many rumors about Asmodeus's true form, but none have ever gazed directly upon the Lord of Lies. He conducts business through a series of avatars that take the form of slim, charismatic, 13-foot-tall, red-skinned humanoids with horns and glowing red eyes. While intimidating, his appearance is described as beautiful and captivating, but looks can be deceiving, as under their clothes, even his avatar bodies are covered in bleeding injuries, causing him constant and immeasurable pain. He is, of course, an adept liar, and seems outwardly unconcerned with these wounds, as if they were only a mild inconvenience. Asmodeus sees himself as above all other existence, and seeks to become the ruler of the multiverse, even if that means he has to remake the multiverse to do so. His exact methods are known only to him, but he seems to genuinely believe that if he were to rule, the multiverse would improve, as arrogant as that may come across. When one meets an avatar of Asmodeus directly, he is an eloquent deal-maker and unwaveringly reasonable. One could almost be convinced that the devil was pleasant if they did not know him for the evil he was. This facade extends outside of pleasantries, however, as the Prince of Fiends prefers to have the upper hand at all times, even when surprised. Meaning, on the rare occasion that he does not know something or did not foresee a circumstance, he is the only one to know, as all others must peer through many layers of deception and trickery. Unlike other deities, Asmodeus does not require the worship of his followers to grant him power. He commands all the souls in hell, and they, along with the hells themselves, feed him power, a power that many have tried and many have failed to usurp. Their many failings bring the ire of his wrath, known more to devils than mortals, but still a fury like the hells themselves. The Lord of Nessus can command, promote, and demote devils at will, and, as was the case with Beelzebul, he can twist the form of archdevils that displease him, a notoriously easy task. His near omnipotence within the hells meant Asmodeus could do practically whatever he desired, including destroying the hag Countess Malagard with a simple thought. Though his own power is immense, he is still a creature of law and prefers to follow rules, or specifically, contracts. Every contract signed with every devil is in the name of Asmodeus, and as such, breaking a deal with even the lowliest imp could bring one an eternity of torment in Avernus. Few have ever done combat with Asmodeus, and fewer still have survived, but from what information is available, he prefers to wield the powers of his ruby rod rather than his own natural abilities that stem from the Pact Primeval, a contract signed by the gods themselves that grants Asmodeus purview to punish mortals and sets the boundaries of the nine hells, a power he would stop at nothing to retain, proven by the measures he took to encase the document in a giant 20-ton ruby. Asmodeus has fought the blood war since time immemorial, since his days as an angel, and like many other angels during the time, he began to have his form corrupted by it, finding himself twisted into the massive serpent he now lives as deep below the ninth. Having seen its inception, Asmodeus knows the blood war to be senseless, though not meaningless, as the threat the demons pose is a real one, but their initial anger would not have been so fierce if he had not stolen a shard of evil from the abyss, a shard he used to craft his ruby rod, and a shard the abyss so desperately wants back. He also holds a fair deal of contempt and hate for the gods of the upper planes, for leaving the war entirely to the infernal legions of the hells, and for giving them no credit for protecting the multiverse from demonic incursions. Though the gods of the upper planes are happy to leave things this way, if Asmodeus ever drove the demons back, the good-aligned gods would be his next target. Now, moving into his history, Asmodeus has many conflicting origin stories, many that are partly true, and many that are purposefully fabricated. So, rather than debate his point of origin, it is safe to say that he had already been around for quite some time before the story of his trial. The Trial of Asmodeus, as it is formally known, is a play based on the events of a potentially real interplanar trial where the angels sought to have Asmodeus condemned for any number of disgusting actions. And, after they agreed to allow Primus to reside as an impartial judge, both sides made their arguments. Angels presented one by one, and Asmodeus argued against every point presented against him, saying he'd only acted consistently in accordance with infernal tradition. When Zariel interrupted and unwittingly started a fight amongst the angels, Primus refused to give a final verdict, though two things were indeed decided that day. Firstly, Asmodeus was given formal permission to sway mortal souls to evil and harvest them. And second, the ruby rod must always be with him and must be used to punish devils that do not uphold their bargains. Two circumstances Asmodeus was more than fine with. And finally, one of the most significant revolts in hell provided one of the most infamous stories, the reckoning of hell. Baalzebul and several archdevils revolted against their leader and attempted to destroy his reputation, amass an army, and eventually depose him. This, of course, did not work. Two factions of archdevils clashed over who would take his place, but Asmodeus himself did not become directly involved. Generally speaking, most of the archdevils were left alone when the revolt finally ended, but the Dark Eight were instituted to take control of the armies. Geryon and Moloch were disposed of, and Baalzebul was twisted into a giant slug. In one fell swoop, Asmodeus, without getting directly involved and merely punishing the remnants, reminded all of hell who was in charge and exactly why he was their superior in every way.